Bruce, you talk about your multi-million dollar short-term rental portfolio. You talk about building your international boutique hotel. You talk about all these great things, but if you had to start over again, start from ground zero and rebuild your real estate empire, how would you do it? That's the question I'm going to answer today. The only thing I would do differently is that I would start earlier. Like, I feel like I started late in life with this real estate process, but I learned a lot. But if I had to go from ground zero and build my way back up, this is exactly how I would do it. I would go out here and I would buy a personal residence, but I wouldn't buy any personal residence. I would literally buy a multifamily, whether it be a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, anything with multiple doors. So what I would do is I would live in one unit and I would rent out the other one, the other two, the other three, and those other units would literally pay for my mortgage. And as the tenants are paying for my mortgage, I would literally save the money that I would have been paying towards a mortgage and be saving it for my next property. But Bruce, how do you do that? The down payment and houses are so expensive. Well, I would literally do an FHA loan with 3.5% down. It's such a small entry point that I can literally do that. I would buy that multifamily because a multifamily, anything under 4 doors is still considered residential. So you can use FHA to buy that property. See, the main thing is that you got to make sure that your tenants' payments are covering the mortgage. Even if it's not all of it, it's some of it. Not only do I get the depreciation, I also get the appreciation and I get the cash flow.
Make money.
So all of that combined, I'm actually making more money than if I was just paying my regular mortgage. So what I want you to do is think about this. If the largest bill that we pay is the mortgage, imagine saving that every month for a year. So if my mortgage payment or my rent payment was $1,500, at the end of the year, I got $18,000. And $18,000 buys me a $500,000 property.
What?
And $18,000 buys me a
$500,000 property.
I know I can go out here and buy a duplex, a triplex, maybe a quad. I might be pushing it a little bit. Maybe I have to save for a year and a half and then I could buy the quad. That's exactly what I would do. I would literally save that money and I'd go buy the next property and I rinse and repeat. I'd go live in one unit, rent out the other three, save up the money. Now I've got the first property and the second property. Now I can save up to maybe 36,000. Now I can go up here and buy $1 million fourplex. And I just repeat and repeat and repeat. But that's the process I would do. So after the fourth property, I would literally move out and then I would just sit back and think about what I really want to do. Do I want to do short-term rentals or long-term rentals? But going back to those quadplexes, right? Those fourplexes, triplexes, duplexes. You're saying, well, Bruce, how can you keep moving around like that? Well, FHA really only cares if you stay in the property for at least 1 year. That year is the year that you're saving all that money for the next property, right? So as long as you're moving within a certain distance from the original home and you have a reason to move. Let's say your neighbors are loud. Let's say you need to be closer to work. Let's say that you needed to go from a duplex to a quadplex because you needed more room for your family. There are multiple reasons that you need to move, and the FHA really understands that. They're okay with it as long as you are living in there for a year and you're actually living there. Do not do this process and not live there and be fraudulent about your residence, right? So actually live there. And I know, like, you're like, but Bruce, it's a quadplex, so I don't want to live with tenants. Well, what are you going to do if it's an apartment? It's the same process. You're living there, but instead of paying money to the apartment complex, you're actually saving money for the next property. You just keep moving on, and this is how you scale. Once you get to around the fourth property, that's when I would probably stop. And like I said, I would sit back and reevaluate what I'm going to do. So after that fourth property, you're going to have about $6,000 worth of cash flow, and you're going to have control over a multi-million-dollar portfolio. And this is exactly how I'd go from zero to $1 million if I had to start all over again. Now, if you found this information of value, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until then, I'll talk to you next time. All right, so now you're $1,800 a month in cash flow in that one unit. And then now you're, like I said, you're scaling, right? So each unit, you're building up. So it's 1,800 here. Then year 2, you're 1,800 plus 1,800. Year 3, you're 1,800 plus 1,800 plus 1,800. So around the fourth, with $7,200 a month, now we're talking about a bigger game, right? We're talking about scaling even bigger. Now that's when I started thinking about, let's do some short-term rentals. Let's even do boutique hotels in Belize. Just saying. I'm just kind of bullish on that.